Long ago, when the world was bright and full of stories, an evil wizard gained the power to touch the face of God. Narrativa, goddess of stories and weaver of our world, banished him to the void, but not before he stole a piece of her divine essence. With this newfound power, the wizard lay a dread curse upon all the world, the Glyph Purge, which struck from the minds of all mortals the knowledge of how to read and write. Now, all that stand between the Isle of Meotia and an age of endless ignorance are the bards, who tell stories of distant lands, exotic creatures, and brave heroes. This is one such tale.
Hello and welcome to Challenge Rating Zero, the latest and greatest Dungeons & Dragons podcast to hit the internet airwaves. I am Sam, your Dungeon Master, and I am joined as always by my longtime friends and adventuring companions.
Hello, I'm Brian, and I play Hector the Gatekeeper.
Hi, I'm Beth, and I play Rillo Longshadow.
Hey there, I'm Alex, and I play Ruger Firehide.
And last but not least, we have the man who calls himself Michael, but who we call Parker, Michael Parker, playing the druid Zurabak. Say hi, Parker.
Hi, Parker.
Fantastic. We are joined, dear listeners, once again for a tale of epic fantasy. Last time, our heroes leveled up, and we did a little bit of nuts and bolts stuff. I promise there's actually going to be, role-playing and, dialogue in this episode. But before we begin in earnest, quick recap. When last we left our heroes, Hector, Rilla Zurabak, and the lawman Ruger Firehide had returned to the city of Everspring, the city of 1,000 colors with music on every corner. Having finally finished their epic quest to recover all the material components needed to finish the stricken spell and begin their work, ending the Glyph Purge and fixing reality, our heroes returned to home base to check in with the conspiracy, the cabal of leaders of Everspring charged with overseeing their grand task and seeing to the safety of the city. The conspiracy informed our heroes that they were preparing the city of Everspring for battle. After the ambush our heroes faced in Giant's Rest, it seems likely that the forces arrayed against them and the army of the Lord Deceiver might spring an attack on the city of Everspring at any time. And so, as the city itself prepares for war, our heroes were given a task to build armies of their very own, marshaling forces behind them to command when the time for battle arrives. Our heroes did build themselves some armies, which we touched on last time. Not only narratively, but because when they leveled up, 3 of my beautiful protagonists took the leadership feat. A glorious mechanical feature of 3.5 D&D, and also the nightmare and headache to any dungeon master, especially when several characters pick it up. Rilla Longshadow, Ruger Firehide, and Hector the Gatekeeper each now have their own personal army made up of characters from level 1 to level 6, and top of the...
I just want to say...
What's
Sorry, cut in, Mr. DM, sir. But someone did heavily encourage us to take the leadership feats. I'm just going to say. He's talking he's we chose to do this to him, but it was heavily encouraged.
He's not innocent here.
No.
Look, if we have to reveal to the listeners that getting the leadership feat is one of my favorite things for a player to do, and that it is a joy for me to make up cohorts and help you guys craft armies, then that's backstage shit. This has to be a horrific hardship on me, a terrible inconvenience. And oh my God, you have armies now? That sucks. That's not rad and dope as fuck. Oh no. That's the character I play, the beleaguered dungeon master.
And do it well.
So, Rilla Longshadow has an army of elves behind her. Her people, the wild elves from the Springvale Forest. Fierce band of archers, some 80 strong. Ruger Firehide has an army of paladins behind him. Knights from the Order of the Quill, and has a force of heavily armored cavalry behind him. And Hector the Gatekeeper has an army of Gatekeeper barbarians and bards behind him. for skirmish tactics. And because the leadership feat affords you not only an army, but a lieutenant, a sidekick, a right-hand man or woman, what is known in game terms as a cohort. Today, we are going to focus on you all meeting your cohorts. Now, for full transparency, the way I like to do this when I'm running a game is I let each of our players pick what type of cohort they'd like, the general class, and then I make character sheets on my own for these characters and name them, give them personalities, all that stuff. These are NPCs as far as the game is concerned, that have their own histories, their own personalities, but because of the leadership feat, they are, when the rubber hits the road, under the control of the players. So Hector and Ruger and Rilla are each going to have basically 2 character sheets that they're running, which will be pretty dope, and they'll have access to a whole new suite of abilities. But first, we got to meet these fools. So we're going to start with Hector the Gatekeeper. Hector, you are still raw from your last adventure, the trauma of losing an arm to the dragon Kesk in repayment for the wound you dealt him so long ago. You were successful in retrieving the skull of a giant and even the blood of a dragon, the last ingredient you need to cast the stricken spell, but at great personal cost. You are awaiting your family, the Gatekeeper clan, to make it to Everspring here as they journey with the Circle of the Serpent north from where they left the gate. And in that time, I am curious what you've been doing.
Well, I think that shortly after the meeting, at some point, Hector would approach Ruger and
Intriguing.
ask for help training in. He's got to learn how to fight with one arm.
I politely but firmly declined. I'm kidding.
Hector leaves Everspring.
No, now you gotta ask Zurabak.
Yes.
Man, you stunned all of us to silence on that one. I love this. Yeah, let's play this out. Hector, you approach Ruger as he's training in the yard behind the Church of Protos. He's leading some of his new recruits in some drills in a broad stone yard with practice dummies and racks of wooden weapons lining the walls. There's some 24 recruits that he's taken through drills. And yeah, what do you say to Ruger?
Hey, nailed it.
Howdy, Hector. What brings you here?
I was wondering if I could maybe join in on training today.
Training? Yeah, all right. I think I can get behind that. What, you feeling a little rusty?
I mean, honestly, I feel a little bit foolish now that the only weapon I've been using for the last long while is a boulder attached to a stick, essentially.
Yep.
And I'm very out of practice when it comes to one-handed weapons, which,
Well, all right. Well, you want to take a few swings at your old friend Ruger, and I'll do my best to block him with my shield. See how it feels?
Yeah, Hector will grab one of his hand axes that he still has, and I don't think I've used
In a long time.
I might have used one in the forest.
It's been a while.
But I always only use them as throwing weapons, not as So we're going to try and use this axe as a melee weapon.
To be fair, we are also in a training yard. I think it could be justifiable. There's other weapons available.
Yeah, but this is what Hector wants to train with because it's what he has.
Great. So Ruger offers to give you a little guidance. Hector, you heft one of your signature gatekeeper hand axes from your belt loop and give it a few test swings. And why don't you just go ahead and roll an attack roll?
All right. So it's going to be, what was it, a -4 on attack rolls?
Yes. With the loss of your arm, that is the stat penalty you'll be facing for the rest of this campaign.
I got a 17.
My armor class is 22, so I take the blow on my shield and kind of dance a little to the left, shrugging it off, and kind of do a little grunt, and I smile at you.
Hector furrows his brow.
Why do I feel like this is just going to end up with them fucking?
Well, I mean, I'm single, so.
The grizzled lawman and his boy barbarian lover.
Jesus.
Hector's 25. I just really got to keep reiterating that. Hector's 25.
Challenge rating 0. After dark.
Nice.
I would hope that to most mid-40s men, 25-year-olds still seem like children. I would hope.
Yeah, I've lost all concepts considering that you're both a teenager and 140 at the same time. So it's fucking...
it makes the math tricky. So yeah, Hector, you swing your weapon, and a shower of sparks sprays off of Ruger's shield as your blade is deflected. And yeah, you feel off. You feel a little off balance. It's definitely a far different matter from swinging this enormous two-handed weapon. The momentum and weight of it swirling around you, and yeah, it is quite an adjustment to, balance without the weight of your other arm, weighing on your torso and trying to find your center.
So yeah, Hector furrows his brow and is going to attempt to take his next 2 attacks.
I'm ready.
That's a 18 on the second attack.
Again, I pull my shield up just in time to deflect a blow, pushing it to the side. Again!
11 on his third attack.
At that, I tried to bash with my shield back at you.
Ooh, interesting. All right, roll an attack roll with your shield.
I've got to keep him on his toes,
For sure.
16. Whoa. No. Sorry. No. 23. I apologize. I am so sorry.
Much better.
I am so sorry.
Hit.
Okay.
Excellent. So yeah, Hector comes in with these 3 swings, and each one of them is turned aside by your light shield as you sort of dance around Hector and keep your guard up. And yeah, you've seen Hector cleave through entire crowds of enemies without thought. You've seen him take out 3 or 4 foes with a single swing of the massive hammer, and you can see, yeah, he's a little, unsteady on his feet, and he leaves a perfect opening, as his final swing goes wide for you to dash in and just, jab him once with your shield.
Yeah, so I hit him for 6 points of... Can I do, subdual damage?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, narrative subdual damage.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're trained.
Narrative damage.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not trying to, break his jaw with my steel
The
shield.
only thing that can break plot armor is narrative damage.
Narrative damage gets through my damage reduction.
Yes, that's why I asked for it.
So yeah, Hector, you take this little jab. And yeah, we can say you guys spar for a little bit, and after a few hours of grueling and sweaty work, you, Ruger, are able to instill some knowledge into Hector and get him at least a little less unsteady.
It's mainly his balance. It's all about his feet. He's focusing so much on his upper body and the swing, right? But it's his whole body's balance is off because of the lost arm. So it's really about how he's positioning himself that matters.
That's where my best muscles are.
Hector never skips leg day.
Yeah, lovely. So yeah, you all train for an afternoon, and yeah, Hector, you get this advice from Ruger to focus on your feet and your balance, and yeah, you pick up some tips and get a little steadier.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It is as you are finishing your training, and you're both drinking some juice boxes and wrapping towels around your necks. That Hector, you see a figure crossing the training yard that y'all are in. This person does not look like any of the knights, the trainees in this yard. They are wearing a shirt of chainmail over like ludicrously loud yellow shirts with ruffles at the collar and the wrists. They are sauntering over wearing these immaculate, like thigh-high boots, and they have a long ponytail, a thin mustache, and they have pointed ears. They seem to be a half-elf. They saunter over to you with a rapier at their hip, and they say, "Ah, you must be Hector the gatekeeper?
Keeper of the gates.
Bard extraordinaire, the College of Ever Spring, yes?
That's the one.
It is a pleasure to finally meet you. I've been searching through the city for quite a while. I did not realize this was one of the places you like to pass the time. So, I see you are hard at work trying to recover from your recent injury. That is laudable.
If I can't be a warrior, then what am I bringing to the table?
I respect that. I do. Forgive me, I have not made introductions. My name is Ivan Eightfinger. Blessed to be a bard of the College of Ever Spring. I don't think we have crossed paths yet. I was out in the field for quite some time. I would like just a moment, if you can spare it.
Of course. What do you do in the field, may I ask?
Oh, mostly recovery of artifacts. I do a small bit of work with Moonbeam in the Hall of Whispers. I've been in the field for quite a while, and things here have changed quite a bit in my time away. I was surprised to hear that our enemy, the Lord Deceiver, had collected their forces, though the roads outside of Ever Spring have become ever more dangerous. I suppose I should have known. And now I see great heroes have arisen in my time away. Champions are going to set the world right.
Or die trying?
Yes, well, that is sort of what I wanted to talk to you about. I've heard all about you from Moonbeam, and I've picked up a few stories here and there around town about the adventures you and your friends have been on. You all do not seem to be faring very well, yes?
Depends on what you mean by that.
Well, forgive me for any insult, but let's see. The last quest you and your companions went on, you lost your arm, and the one before that, one of you died. It seems that the road you walk is perilous indeed, and there are many enemies arrayed against you. I think someone like you that wishes to rush headlong into battle, to be a warrior who sees no place for themselves outside of this role, you need someone at your back. Someone who maybe knows the benefits of subtlety, who might be able to teach you a thing or two about maybe approaching problems from the flank.
Go on.
Well, I have studied the blade since I was a small child. I used to be under the authority of the Lore Master of War, and he draws his rapier, this beautifully crafted, swept hilt sword, and does a quick flurry in front of your face, pausing to salute you with the blade in front of his face before sheathing it again. I am no slouch when it comes to combat, and as a member of the College of Everspring, I'm empowered with certain magical properties as well. He waves a hand in front of you and disappears from sight, completely vanishing in the blink of an eye. And a moment later, you hear
Wait,
his voice.
hold on.
What's up?
I try and listen for him.
Yeah, roll a listen check.
Okay, I rolled very badly. I didn't do. I got a 9.
Yeah, he disappears completely from your view, and you try to listen for where he might be, but
And Hector tries. At this point, it's just luck because he realizes he actually can't hear him. But Hector's still trying to look cool, and he tries to just like throw an arm out and like catch him with his hand.
sure, yeah, you throw an arm out into open air, and you hear his voice behind you say, "Ah, you go for where I was, not where I was going to be." And you spin around. He's standing behind you, in what was once open air. As I said, my methods are a bit more subtle than I believe you are used to, but I can tell you a thing or two about using one arm instead of both, and I can watch your back. You have become very important to the College of Everspring. If you have need of someone to be your right-hand man, then Ivan Eightfinger is at your service. And though my wound does pale in comparison to the price you have paid, I am no stranger to injury myself. And he holds up his right hand, his sword hand, and you see that he's wearing a gauntlet with two fingers that look entirely mechanical. It seems that his pinky and ring finger on his right hand are gone and have been replaced with these prosthetics. He flexes his fingers before you, and you hear the clicking of gears turning as he does. He says, "Lost this in a fight for my life many years ago. Quite a tale. Perhaps one day I will share it with you. But I have made my offer. If you need support, if you need backup, if you need someone to assist you, I would relish the opportunity to chronicle the rest of your adventures."
Hector frowns and looks at Ivan's right hand and then looks down where his arm used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right hand man, huh?
As I said.
And then Hector starts chuckling. You're a funny one. Let's grab a drink.
I'll buy. It would be my pleasure.
All right.
and he makes a curt and graceful about face and swaggers out of the training yard, heading to a bar for you to grab a drink. Congratulations, you have met your cohort, Ivan Eightfinger, a half-elven bard who, because
That's
of
not
your
his name.
insane leadership score... What's up?
That's not his name.
What did I say?
You said Ivan. He's very clearly named Ivan.
Ivan.
Sir.
Forgive me.
Yeah, he
Forgive
said
me.
Yvonne.
Forgive me.
Wow.
You have now met your cohort, Ivan Eightfinger. He is a half-elf bard, and because of your ridiculous leadership score, he is level 13. He has some pretty potent magic, and is no slouch with a blade. Congratulations, you've met your cohort. And his very, very silly voice, which I now have to do for the rest of this fucking game. All right. Next up, we got Ruger Firehide.
Yeah, I'm standing there awkwardly watching Hector and his new friend leave to go to the top.
Yeah, this is all the same scene.
I'm just messing with you, dude.
That's how I saw it.
Right, I'm just
No,
like...
this is too good. We're picking up right as this happens. You just watch someone pledge their eternal loyalty to Hector, the gatekeeper.
Yeah, I'm just smoking an after spar cigarette.
Yeah. As you watch Hector depart with his new friend Ivan, you see Captain Kurz coming out into the training yard. The sun is starting to set behind the stone wall framing this yard, and many of the recruits and knights are calling it a day. They are putting up their practice weaponry and setting the dummies back up and starting to head inside. But Captain Kurz comes out of the temple and approaches you as you are taking another drag off your cigarette. Ah, there you are. Hard at work as always. Firehide, that's what I respect about you.
Nice to see you, buddy. I gotta be honest with you. I am barely on my feet right now. My shield arm went numb 2 hours ago. Not even sure it's there anymore. And I slap it.
Yeah, those gatekeepers hit hard. I've seen it once or twice myself in my youth when I traveled the Isle.
I'm gonna be aching for weeks.
Not a subtle people. Well, I'm glad I found you out here. I thoroughly appreciate you throwing yourself into your work, training up the new recruits. It's quite a bit of responsibility you've gotten in a short amount of time. It seems like just yesterday I was still trying to convince you to join this knightly order, and now, look at you. A commander with your own regiment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've come a long way from the freeholds, and honestly, wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, buddy.
Well, kind words indeed, Firehide. I'd remind you that I don't think any of us, including this city, would be here if it weren't for you and your friends, so I guess we'll call it even. In regard to your new command and the forces you have underneath you, I think that given your responsibilities as a protagonist and the missions you will have to go on, it might be wise to give you a lieutenant. Someone to help you keep track of the men and, well, to watch your back out in the field. I have a candidate at the ready, if you are ready to meet them.
Well, I'm getting a little long in the tooth. Wouldn't hurt to have someone keeping an eye on my back. Hopefully they're not a teenager, because Kurz, if it's one more teenager, I swear to narrative, I start saying as I follow him to...
Oh, no worries, Firehide. Not a teenager. She turned 20 just yesterday.
I jump off the nearest bridge.
You go inside the temple, and standing there is a young woman with fiery red hair. It is curly and frizzy, and barely kept together with a broadcloth tying it into some semblance of a ponytail. She has freckles and bright green eyes and stands in a shining breastplate with the Order of the Quill stamped on it. And on her back is strapped the biggest fucking crossbow you've ever seen. It's this massive work of wood and metal with a bunch of complicated looking gears and pulleys in it. There's a giant box full of crossbow bolts strapped to the top of it. But she looks completely casual with it over her shoulder like it's a part of her. She stands at attention as you and Kurz approach, and Kurz says, Commander Firehide, Scrivener of the Order of the Quill, may I present to you Lieutenant Bonnie Bolt. And this young woman raises a fist to her heart in salute and says, Scrivener Kurz? Scrivener Firehide? It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, sir.
At ease, soldier.
She takes a parade stance.
Nice. Yes, that's bonus points. Well, Lieutenant, Kurz here mentioned you might be in need of work.
Well, sir, it was my hope that, well, I might serve under you. I requested this post specifically. I've been following your work, sir, and seeing what you and your friends have done, and I want to do everything I can to keep everyone safe. And I think that serving under you will give me the best chance of, well, making the biggest impact I can.
All right. Well, you mentioned you want to keep everybody safe. How do you intend to do that? And then, before she even answers, I quickly snatch my hat from the top of my head and whip it out into the air to the side.
Ooh. Excellent. You throw your hat in the air and spin it across the room like a frisbee. It sings in the light slanting through the large windows of this enormous granite building. And quick as a whip, before your very eyes, your hat is snatched from the sky as a loud click reverberates, followed by a twang, and before you realize it, your hat is pinned to the wall of the temple here in the Church of Protos with a crossbow bolt. You look over, and Bonnie is standing at the ready, this massive crossbow at her shoulder, and before your very eyes, she fires off 2 more shots in quick succession, and each one of these crossbow bolts splits the bolt that she fired before it.
Well, damn. I shouldn't have thrown my hat. I like that hat. I was certain you were gonna miss.
Oh, Scrivener, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to ruin your hat. I just thought is this a test? I thought this was a test.
Yeah, no, it was. You passed. I just failed because, damn, I was certain you were gonna miss. Oh, I need a new hat. And I grumble as I go and I start pulling, get my hat. I'm like, big old hole in it.
Kurz chuckles.
I chuckle as well, and I put my now holy hat back on. Oh, gosh. And then I walk back over to Bonnie and say, well, seems like you know how to handle that weapon. You got a good eye, which is good because mine are getting old. So, all right. If you're up for it, I wouldn't mind having you watching my back, but I'll warn you, I keep for some weird company. I mean, there's a one-armed barbarian and a shifting dead girl and the swamp monster. Those are just my friends.
Well, Mr. Firehide, if you don't mind me saying, sir, Scrivener, sir, those weird friends of yours are the reason I'm alive. I'm from Blackrock, sir, and well, not too terribly long ago, the Knights of the Pyre swept through there. They damn near burned the whole town to the ground. They burned every bit of writing we'd ever found, and they trapped us all in the inn there. We're gonna burn us all to death. But your friends, they came by and broke us out and stopped the spreading of the fire. They are the reason I'm here right now. They passed through town like they were sent by Protos himself. And after they left, well, I took this here crossbow of mine. I buried one of my best friends who died in the attack, and I came north. I vowed that no one else would suffer anything like this as long as I had any say in it. I came north and joined up with the Knights, and I've been training every day since then. And Captain Kurz cuts in and says, "That's all true, Firehide. Bonnie here is no stranger to loss, and she's the most dedicated knight we've had here in quite some time. I've never seen anyone fly through the ranks as fast as she has."
I give Kurz, like I narrow my eyes a little bit at Kurz, seeing the obvious setup here. But then I turn to Bonnie and say, "Well, that's a harrowing story, and for what it's worth, sorry for your loss. I can relate, especially at the hands of the Knights of the Pyre. But in regards to them, I need to be clear with you. I'm not in the business of vengeance anymore. That version of Firehide, well, he's dead. But justice, now that's something we could talk about."
She claps her hand over her chest again and says, "Of course, Scrivener. If you'll allow me to serve, I'll follow your lead. You just tell me what to shoot, and I'll shoot it."
Well, you can follow me to the Crooked Stool, and you can shoot yourself a glass of fire whiskey.
She cracks a smile. She's got these big white teeth with a prominent gap. She says, "Well, you're on."
I wouldn't smile too big. You're bad. And then I start walking to the bar after Hector and his companion.
Yep, she follows after. Fantastic. All right, switching to Rilla Longshadow.
Yep.
Hi.
Hey!
Rilla, you are in the city of Everspring, the center point of civilization in all the Isle of Meosha. You have formed up an army of your elven brethren. Yeah.
I mean, it's more like I came home and people started to come talk to me, and before I knew it, there was like a whole group of them, and then they started asking me questions about archery, and before I knew it, like, training like bullseyes and hay bear, stuff was getting set up, and I just kind of like ended up training a militia a little bit, and I didn't plan on doing any of this. Obviously, it just kind of happened to me.
Yeah, against your best intentions, you have found yourself leading archery training for a group of some 80 elves who look at you like a demigod and bow every time you walk past them.
She's working on not cringing when they do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you have some free time allotted to you between your training of your forces. What does Rilla want to do with her free time here in the city of Everspring?
As I lean against my what did I take that was supposed to be Hector's? An axe?
You took an adamantine warhammer.
Cool. So I'm leaning there in like a gold cloth cloak on an
Yes.
adamantine hammer.
It's looking dope as fuck.
Sad. Just sad and lonely and like, Rilla starts missing her parents really badly.
Mm-hmm.
And she decides to go check out the Temple of Narrativa because she's never seen it, but she knows it's in this town somewhere.
Very true. Narrativa, the goddess of stories, is worshipped here in Everspring just as powerfully, if not more, than Protos, the god of heroes. And Narrativa does absolutely have a beautiful temple here in the city of Everspring. One that, I don't think any of you have ever visited. Now, Rilla, if I remember, is a devoted follower of Narrativa and has been since her childhood, right? That's like the religion you were raised in.
Correct. Yeah, my parents taught me the worshipping when I was a kid, and even after they passed away, it was kind of a connection to them. So I think that I taught Dara. And we likely had like a small, what do you call those? I'm losing the words here. A small like altar
Sure.
in our home. I would think something little.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very closely tied in Rilla's mind with family.
That's beautiful. Yeah, you absolutely have a small altar. Ooh, I gotta figure out what the symbol for Narrativa is. I mean, it's just an open book, isn't it? It's just an open book. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
probably.
so you head to the Church of Narrativa. You wander through the streets of the city of Everspring, every building and every street painted in riotously bright colors that commingle as you make your way through. Every corner and plaza brimming with music from bards and buskers, laughter tumbling out of every inn, the bustle of people going to shops, and eventually you get to this gorgeous 3-story wooden building. It's got a beautiful round stained glass window right above the double doors that shows an open book with a ray of sunlight shining onto its pages. There is a beautiful garden around this building with a lovely array of riotously colorful flowers. There's a few fountains in this garden as well out in front of the building, and the broad double doors of it are standing open as a flow of worshipers goes in and out. You enter and you see a very warmly decorated shrine to Narrativa. Against the far wall is a beautifully carved marble tome that is opened up on a large altar. There's rows and rows of pews, but these are very elegantly carved. They're wooden, they're cushioned. They seem more like couches than the sort of stiff wooden pews you'd get in something like the Church of Protos. There's beautiful wood paneling in here, and there's a lot of candles lit on these ledges all around the room, giving a lovely flickering lights all around, and you hear the murmuring of prayers as a good 24 people are here in this large room offering prayers, lighting candles, and just chatting with each other. There's a few folks of the members of the clergy sort of wandering around talking to people. What do you do as you get into this building?
So this is probably like the biggest temple I've seen for my god, like Protos, whatever. So I think she's a little awkward because she's used to more like solo worship points.
For sure.
But I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I think she just goes and like sits on a bench, kind of in the back, to like observe what everyone else is doing, and she just kind of is not quite praying, but like trying to empty her mind and find like the stillness and the like safety and peace that she would usually feel when she would worship.
Absolutely. Yeah. You sit on you sit on a bench in the back of this temple, and you start to meditate. You let the slow, steady susurrations of the people praying around you kind of wash over you in this beautifully appointed, calm, warm setting. And yeah, after a minute or two, you find yourself in a very placid state. Um, as you sort of open yourself up to the universal oneness and the glory of the goddess of stories. And you do feel a warmth come over you and a calm. You close your eyes for a minute to center yourself. And when you open them again, there's someone sitting next to you.
I jump in my seat, for sure. Ah!
Yeah, you see a young dwarven woman sitting next to you. She has chestnut brown hair. All of the hair on her head is done up in a very thick and elaborate single braid, which trails down next to her and a little bit off the bench. She's wearing the robes of clergy. These parchment white robes with the sigil of an open book stamped on the front of it. And she is staring at you with these large brown eyes that seem almost like just a little bit too big for her head. She's got this really intense stare, like she's looking through you almost. And as you jump, she says, "Oh, my apologies. It wasn't my intention to give you a fright there."
Uh, it's fine. Can I help you?
Well, my name is Abigail Ironeye. I'm one of the clerics here at the temple. I just wanted to introduce myself before we go walking out of the door together. Seemed only proper.
What? Walking? What do you mean?
I just wanted to introduce myself before you and I, walk out of here and go on our adventures together. That's all.
Lady, I don't know you. What the hell are you talking about? Did we get another protagonist? Is this how you're introducing yourself?
Oh, no, I'm not a protagonist. I'm certainly nothing next to Rilla Longshadow, the hero of 1,000 faces. Rilla the Returned? No, I'm not close to your level, but I am a faithful worshipper of the goddess Narrativa. And as such, I am blessed with, well, the old priests here call it a bit of foresight, but I like to think I just see a bit more of the tapestry than others do. I knew, for instance, that you were going to walk in here, that you were going to sit right here at this bench, and that you would be looking for answers. Well, congratulations. I'm your answer.
Rilla's just like blinking at her, kind of dumbfounded and a little creeped out. What was the question? I've had a rough few weeks, lady. I just was trying to, come to terms with dying and probably losing all my friends and, dying mostly. So I don't know how you're the answer to that.
Well, I know that you and your friends have gone through quite a lot. I know the terrible dark road you've had to walk in your role as a protagonist. And I know that you could use a friend. And I could be that friend. I don't mean to be pushy, but I'm a bit of a prodigy. At least that's what the old priests tell me. I have been a worshipper of Narrativa for quite a long time. And my connection with the goddess is something special. I'm familiar with how the world is woven together, and I can see a bit beyond what most people see. I get, I suppose, visions, you call them. And one of my visions told me that you'd walk in here and that you'd need someone. Someone to talk to, someone to rage at, someone to provide a non-judgmental shoulder. And, eventually, perhaps, someone to make sure that the next time you and your friends go stepping out, you don't die again.
We do seem to have trouble keeping ourselves physically whole on our own. I think technically Zurabak could help us, but he won't probably unless there's something in it for him. And he did say he wanted to eat me, so I don't have high hopes on that one. It would be good to have a cleric along for the rest of this journey, but hope your farsight protects you. I can't guarantee any of us are going to make it out of this alive.
Well, that's a bit too far for me to see, but what I have seen is that you've been spending far too much time around creepy old men, if you don't mind me saying. Your companions are powerful champions, but they're also, well, old and creepy, and I sense you might be in the market for a friend that might be a bit closer to your age and might know a bit of what you've been through. I've spent my entire life raised by the priests here, and they are a stuffy lot.
Yeah, that did sound familiar, spending all of your youth surrounded by elders. I mean, old people. Hopefully yours were less evil. I mean, they should be, right?
They are kind and benevolent, yes, but they are also boring and traditional, and they like to give orders. I've never really liked that bit.
No, that part sucks ass. Yeah, why don't we, I don't know, why don't we go chat? I'm not really in the mood for drinks. Go for a walk or something? Does that work?
A walk sounds delightful.
Cool.
And you get up and walk out of this church of Narrativa with Abigail Ironeye, dwarven cleric, following after you, just as her vision proclaimed.
Should have murdered her.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
She knew too much.
My vision! You have to recruit me.
It's just really funny. It's just a fun thing to throw in someone's face. Look, you're going to walk out of here with me. How do you know? Well, you just are.
God told me, it's fine.
Great. So, that is you three, and that is your, those are your cohorts, your lieutenants, your second in command. For the listeners at home, I have made entire character sheets for these people. I have scanned them and emailed them to our players here. And so, yeah, they now each have basically 2 character sheets to keep track of. The next time we get into a big old fight. And you have access to all their abilities. They're fully fleshed out characters with skills and spells and all that good shit. And we'll see how that evolves as the story moves forward. But Zurabak, King of the Shocker Lizards, Champion of the Goats, Emperor of the Rats, Duke of the Isle of Neho, Zurabak the Unburned, Void Eater. Last time we checked in with you, you were on a joyride with your herald, Cedric, brother of Hector the Gatekeeper.
He made a lot of money. It's what he wanted to do.
Yeah, you took the entire significant cash reward you got from the Iron Shogun in Grotmire, and you gave it all to your herald. He spent all of it on an incredibly powerful magic item, a Horn of Blasting. Yeah, I believe you were airwalking and transporting via plants and just taking him on quite a joyride.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. Now you hate the confines of the city of Everspring, and you, as a powerful druid, have the ability to go anywhere you fucking want. I'm curious, now that the item retrieval is finished and you're waiting for this golem to finish being constructed, what are you doing with your free time?
Well, you can't really stalk people in town anymore.
Yeah, now with the
Especially-
herald to tell him you're coming.
Yeah. It's a different type of stalking.
Yeah.
You just follow the same person, and every time they go somewhere else, I just kick in the door and have the herald announce me.
Yeah, you just make someone part of your grand procession against their will.
Meat wagon.
Who's ready for a one-person parade?
Whatever happened to my meat squire?
No.
That poor college kid is back in class.
Yeah, he has to at least hear all my titles at least once.
Oh, he does. That for sure happens.
Because then he could just say, I was tricked out of the service of a baron.
Well, the Duke, but yeah.
Same thing.
Sure.
Let's see. After the one-man parade gets old, probably go on an adventure.
Sounds good. Adventures are always fun. Is there a particular point in the compass you were headed towards?
He probably should check on his so-called keep, I guess.
The keep you were given on the Isle of Niho, your castle bestowed upon you by your not sister, Letitia Skullsplitter.
Yeah, it's really just like the castle was forced upon me. It was not a good situation.
Yeah, poor you. An entire castle. Great. So yeah, you travel to your castle. Now, you, I assume, utilize your transport via plant spells to get out there to the Ashen Isles.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. You step
I ain't
through...
using no stupid-ass stone portals. That's
No,
for
of course
bitches.
not. That is for bitches. So you find some suitable plant life, and using your druidic magics and the power of the wild places, you step through some of those plants, and you end up in the storm-racked volcanic islands that your sister, Queen Letitia, rules with an iron fist. The surf surges around you as ashen black clouds of volcanic smoke dominate the skyline, and in short order, you find yourself astride your dire shark, Bitey. Who is,
He's just
of
always
course,
running idle.
He's, of course, idling off the coast as you arrive. And boom,
Oh, I guess I
takes...
should grab him a meat wagon before I go.
Yes. Yeah, you chum the waters for him, and he eagerly devours your offering and takes you speedily to your island, the Isle of Niho, which is a desolate island of jagged black rock covered with pockets of sulfur vents and small puddles of briny water with dead fish. Your sprawling keep, a one-story black stone fortress, the only thing upon it. As you get to your island, you see a couple things are different. For one, there are some plants on it, which was not a thing before. There are a couple of very sickly-looking palm trees and some very yellow-looking shrubbery that have been placed just inside the outer wall of your dreaded keep. You can see these trees kind of poking over the poking over the wall as you approach. There's also people here on your island. As you disembark Bitey and stride across the pitted black landscape that is your dukedom, Pretty Polly and Mrs. Fisher approach you. Pretty Polly, the goblin, rushing up to you in his coat and tails, his tricorn hat smushed down over his big floppy ears, and Mrs. Fisher, the ogress, running towards you in her outfit made of black sails. And Polly says, Duke Zurabak, it do be a pleasure to see you again, my lord. And he bows deeply, so does Mrs. Fisher. The Duke's returned! Yay! Behind them, there is a crowd of people with a huge cauldron and a bunch of big, like, metal ladles and a bunch of sacks of, like, weird powders. And they're all, like, talking heatedly with each other over this giant cauldron. Polly says, "It's been a bit since your last visit, your lordship, but we've made some of the changes you requested. We've got some plants here from Queen Letitia's island. We put them in some pots inside the gate there, the keep. You should be able to teleport directly to the island now and come and go from your keep as you wish. So we've done that. They're a bit hard to keep alive in the atmosphere around here, but we're doing the best we can on that score."
Hold on. Plant growth.
You cast the druidic spell Plant Growth, and as you wave your hand in just the general
I
direction,
guess it'd be
of
the
these...
enrichment effect.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
as you
range of 1/2 mile.
As you wave your hand in the general direction of these plants, they all brighten considerably. The leaves unfurling, casting off their yellow hue and becoming a verdant green. The trees, these palms stand taller. These shrubs take better shape in the pots that have been placed on the terrible black stone of your island. Polly says, "Right, well, great. That's done then. Fantastic. Well done, your lordship. There was one other thing. We've got visitors, as I'm sure you can see. We tried to tell them to fuck right off, but they were sent here by the Queen. They came with some interesting news, your lordship. It seems that, it seems the Queen's been working with some of her alchemists, and they've made a bit of a discovery."
Did they make food more delicious?
"Well, no, but they found something that you might find just as interesting. Well, nearly as interesting. Well, maybe half as interesting." And as he says that, behind him, around this cauldron where these five people are having this heated discussion, there is a crackle and a loud bang and a flash of light as they are all thrown backwards from this cauldron, and a tendril of smoke rises up from between them out of this cauldron. These five people, they have black soot covering their faces. One of them is like patting out their singed eyebrows, but they all, strangely enough, let out a raucous cheer at this explosion that happened in between them.
Is that supposed to happen?
"I believe it or not, your lordship, I think it is. From what I've been told, Queen Letitia has discovered a formula for making a strange powder that, it explodes once you get heat on it. Apparently, it was all the rage back before the glyph purge. It's called black powder or smoke powder. Apparently, it needs a few ingredients, one of which is sulfur, and your island seems to be the biggest source of sulfur that your queen can lay claim to. They sent these boys out here to collect as much as they can."
All right. Can I eat it?
Well, you could. It might not agree with you. I think it could be used to lay waste to your enemies. And at that, one of these five folks that was fucking around with this cauldron rushes over to you. There were kobold with a long leather apron, their red scales blackened with soot, and they rush over and bow deeply, like groveling in front of you. Duke Zurabak, you've returned. Oh, this is fantastic. Listen, so I'm sure your Castellan here has told you what's going on. We have recovered a formula for a terrifying weapon that we can use to kind of just fuck up anybody we want. And the Queen sent us to collect some of the sulfur. This is your land, your island, and we need the sulfur that your island just sort of makes to help us make this smoke powder. The Queen has offered to set aside quite a few barrels of the smoke powder once we get the process up and running. Did you want just a whole mountain of exploding black dust?
Yes, I do.
Fantastic. Yeah, we'll get that going for you. We're gonna need to take a lot of sulfur from your island here, but once we get that all in the cauldron and get back to the Queen's lab, we'll send out barrels of this stuff. Considering how many materials we got to work with, it should be easy.
You'd think that. Oh, sorry, inside thought.
Well, thank you, your lordship, for not, killing us for being on your island. We know it would be just an afterthought for you, so we really appreciate that. We're going to get some of this stuff and get going, and you should be seeing these shipments pretty soon. We'll liaison with your Castellan here, and we'll get these stacked up on your island for whenever you need them.
Okay.
And he bows and backs up and goes back to the cauldron. And Pretty Polly says, "Well, that should be interesting. Might be able to do some real damage with that stuff." And his goblin eyes get a glitter to them. I've got one more bit of news for you, your lordship. We have made a few improvements to your castle as best we could. Not a lot of things to work with here. If you'll join me. And he walks inside the wrought iron gate of your castle. Did we name this thing?
The gate? No, I don't think we named the gate.
Or no, did we? Did we name your keep?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. We'll just call it Zurabak Keep.
Keep the Devourer.
The Devourer's Keep is great.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. You, Pretty Polly, your Castellan enters the Devourer's Keep. You take off after him. And the inside has been decorated a little bit. So this keep was basically like a giant fortress put on this island in ages long past, and it is not very fancy. It is very defensible. Large slabs of thick black stone built up in basically a rectangle behind a high wall. There's murder holes instead of windows, and the rooms are blocked off in these square chambers that can easily be isolated with big stone doors on hidden hinges that slide back and forth. As you get inside, it looks like Pretty Polly has taken a lot of stuff from his former lair in the Shattered Shoals and kind of moved it in here. There's a bit of a nautical theme with the decor. There's some anchors, some old sails hung up on the walls. There's some pretty well carved, like driftwood furniture, tables and chairs adorning some of the rooms. It's sparse, but it's a lot more comfortable than it was before. Polly looks around and says, "So I did what I could with the decor, but not quite a dab hand at decoration myself. Mrs. Fisher wanted to do some remodeling, but all she can really manage is knocking walls down. I didn't think you'd want to do that until you gave us the go-ahead. I don't know if there's anything...
No, you're right. We need room for the gator pit.
Right, a gator pit. Well, I suppose we could try to get some laborers from the mainland to dig something out. I don't suppose your vast, incredible magic powers could change some things up around here. I mean, it's your keep. If you want a gator pit, I think you might be able to make one quicker than we could.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to go get the gators. Oh, you mean with the rocks? Well, you just as he casts stone shape, you just sort of move your hand like this, and it makes a hole. And I make a hole.
Yeah, you wave your hand casually in front of you, and you make an enormous pit in the floor of one of these rooms, which is perfect to put gators in. And now I'd like to take a step back here and ask you, Parker, if there are any badass modifications you'd like to make to your keep. You are a druid with the ability to shape stone and mud at a whim and completely fuck up the entire environment. I'm curious, with the powers at your disposal and your grim, horrifying sense of fashion and your aesthetic, if there's anything specific you want to do to your keep. We could basically play The Sims here. You're a very powerful druid. Are there any design choices, any functionality stuff you want to change or fix, or anything you had in mind? The Gator Pit, obviously.
We need a statue. So you know the Conan pose where he's holding his sword up, and then there's the lamentations of the women grasping at him?
Yes.
Okay. That with me and my spear, and then Snake like coiled up like the women and technically the mountain.
Hell yeah. You make a lovely statue of you standing strong with Snake coiled loyally around one of your legs, his massive fangs bared to the world. Where does the statue go? Out in front of the gate of the Keep of the Devourer?
I guess like right in the courtyard or whatever that would be.
Absolutely. So someone comes in through the wrought iron gate and then sees this horrifying edifice of you standing spear outstretched with your enormous snake at your leg. Polly whistles as you form this with your magics out of the rough black stone of the isle itself. That's nice work there, my lord. Excellent likeness.
You want one? I can do that too. What about you, Harold? Mrs. Fisher.
I mean, if we're just handing out statues, then you bet your ass I want one, boss. With all due respect, please.
Everyone gets a statue. Except you, Snake, you share that one.
Snake flicks his tongue deferentially. Yeah, you make a lovely tableau. You make like a fucking superhero splash page of you and your crew wrought in stone.
The courtyard's effectively become a statue garden.
Yeah. Effectively, Polly and Fisher take to moving around the potted plants and trees that they've brought in, now growing beautifully, and you now have a lovely little sculpture garden out in front of your keep. All right, so we got a sculpture garden, we got a gator pit inside. Anything else you wanted to do?
Lava waterfall.
A lava waterfall. Now that could take some doing. Hey, you just got access to the earthquake spell, didn't you?
Yeah, I can take steps to do it.
Fantastic. So we're just going to hand wave that because it's fine. And you make a minor earthquake. Underneath your island.
Knock down the whole keep.
Yeah, you are able to, with your incredible druidic magic, shake the very earth beneath your island. And you make a fault line crack going all the way to the volcanic heart of these islands. And yeah, you get a lovely little lava flow going. Where do you want this lava flow to happen?
Yeah, so I think it should be the first room you see in the keep itself.
There's just a curtain wall of lava flowing down?
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, your foyer is now horrifically stifling hot as through stone shape and earthquake and your various other druidic spells, you are able to make a beautiful, intimidating, horrifying wall of flowing rock inside the foyer of the Devourer's Keep.
Man, if only reverse gravity lasted longer than rounds.
Yeah, to have that flowing upward would be
Right.
fucking wild. No such luck. All right, we got the sculpture garden, the gator pit. We've got the lava wall. Anything else?
I assume I fill it with gators at some point.
You summon a lovely horde of gators that slither right into that pit. There's a half dozen
Oh
gators.
no,
in this
I
huge...
don't summon them. I just go to the swamp, wrestle them, and drag them back forcefully.
Well, that's what I meant by summon, but sure, yeah, you acquire through brute strength a lovely like half dozen gators, which you put in this giant like Olympic-sized pool that you have made of brackish black swamp water, and you have a little ecosystem inside. Do you make like a terrarium, like bring in logs and some flora and fauna as well?
Oh yeah, give them a good swampy.
Sweet. So we got the lava room
life.
and we got the swamp room with the gator pit. Excellent.
The best part is I could make them all intelligent. Awaken's only a 5th level spell.
Damn. How much it cost?
250 XP.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So dropping the hat at this point.
Excellent. Anything else up the top of your head? As we approach the end of the episode for the day.
I pick up one of the palm trees and drag it to my not sister's keep.
Okay. You take it to the you take it to the main island of Garu, and you get on the island. There's a shit ton of construction going on. The whole island is bustling with activity, as it seems like everyone in the court of Letitia Skullsplitter, the Queen of the Ashen Isles, is busy reconstructing a suitable palace for her. Giant animals are helping with the labor, pulling giant plows through soil, moving enormous boulders, carrying workers to and fro as you see enormous bamboo scaffolding raised around the edifice of another giant skull-shaped palace being built over the ruins of the old one against the side of this recently erupted volcano. And you're able to place a large palm tree right inside the gate.
I bring that shit to the throne.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. You are, of course, allowed in. There is a pretty rough construction. There's none of the finery that, your not sister is used to. But, there is already the first thing built, a makeshift throne room with a giant throne made of bones that look very fresh. Some of them still have a bit of meat and hair on them. And seated on that throne is Queen Letitia Skullsplitter, Queen of the Ashen Isles. She says, Duke Zurabak, it is fine to see you.
Got a castle warming gift.
Oh, a tree. Fitting.
Yeah, I can travel via them.
Convenient.
Very.
Well, it's been nice catching up, but I've got work to do.
I got a lava waterfall now.
Damn it. Now I have to go see that.
Statues are pretty good, too.
I already said I was going.
There's a gator pit.
God damn it. And she gets up from her throne. Well, let's use the tree.
All right. I set the tree just in the corner.
Yeah, you set the tree down and teleport with Queen Letitia to your new keep. She walks around it, holding her chin the entire time, gazing at the sculpture garden, the lava wall, the gator pit, and says, "This is just fine. Worthy of the title I've bestowed on you. Good work. Did they tell you about the black powder?"
Yep. A lot of things are gonna explode.
Oh, we're gonna explode everything. And that is where we're gonna end.
Hello and welcome to As the Dice Turns, the podcast after the podcast. Looks like host is sick. Not sure when he'll be back, so I guess we're gonna run things for a while. Today I am joined by my new friend. Yvonne, how are you doing?
Bonjour. I am doing just fine, my friend. How are you today?
You know, I get to wear the hosting pants, which pretty tight, but you know.
Yes, they look, I don't know how quite to put it, easily removable, I'd say.
I think that's fair. But today we're here to get to know about you.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I am my favorite topic of discussion.
So Yvonne, you have shown me that you know how to handle a blade. I assume, then, that you have been locked in the grips of mortal combat before.
Yes, I have been both unfortunate enough to have to fight for my life and fortunate enough to have won every time so far.
Well, why don't you tell me about the first time?
Oh, yes. The first kill. Some say it gets easier after that, but, well, I never take too much pride in doing the grim work of slaying my foes. But the first kill was, I would say, still rather justified. I was traveling through the raging sands, attempting to find an artifact to bring to the College of Whispers. As a half elf, I have quite the long lifespan, unlike a, well, human like yourself. I've been in the service of the college for quite some time, and in my travels, I came upon a group of, well, rather unseemly characters. I did not think they were such bad men when I first met them. They were digging through the ruins of an old temple that had been uncovered in the sandstorms that raged through that desert. I thought maybe we could join forces, perhaps uncover some loot as a team. But after a night of drinking and trying to get to know them better, I found out their true nature. They were bandits, raiders. They had slain quite a few people on their way out to this temple, killed even those who had, well, shown them where they could find this place. Their guide's body was buried not 100 feet from our campground. I expressed my deep disapproval of this arrangement, and their leader told me that, what was his exact expression? I was a toothless pup without the stones to step to any one of them, I believe. I took this personally, and so I drew my blade and met him in combat. He was quite the fighter. He wielded a pair of short swords that were sharp as a razor, and I defended myself as well as I could, but though in the end I did slay him, it was in that very fight that I earned my moniker Ivan Eight Fingers. He took 2 fingers from my right hand, slipping past my guard. I have made sure to keep close watch on my right side ever since that day. And that is the first person I ever slew. His companions decided to run after their leader was put into the ground. I recovered the body of their guide, returned them to the village they came from, and left that ruin behind me. Whatever was in there was not worth all the blood to be spilled.
Damn.
Quite the story, no?
Indeed. I think actually. Hey, Sharon. Host isn't. We can drink in here when he's not here, right? Can we get? Yeah, let's get some drinks. Hey, you wanna? Let's get some drinks for that.
I never turned down a drink.
All right. Well, I think that is going to just about do it for us. Yvonne, thank you.
It has been my pleasure.
And remember, keep those dice rolling.
Hey there, dear listener. Sam the DM here, checking in with the credits at the end of the show. Challenge Rating 0 was edited by the incomparable Audius Prime, aka Matt Sims. You can find more of his work at audiusprime.com. Music for Challenge Rating 0, including our amazing theme song, is provided by the harp wolf Danielle Williams. You can find more of her work at danielletaylorharp.bandcamp.com, including her album Why Are We Surprised When Seasons Change. Additional music for Challenge Rating 0 is provided by Justin Ra. You can find more of his work at justinra.com, including his album Age of the Spirit. If you want to find us on social media, we are on Facebook and Instagram at Challenge Rating 0. We're at Twitter at Challenge_0. And if you'd like to email us here at the show and send in any questions for As the Dice Turn segment, you can send any emails to challengeratingzero@gmail.com. Any questions we receive will be read on air. If you'd like to support the show, we are on Patreon, patreon.com/CR_ZERO. We've got some bonus content on there for you folks if you are interested. And if you can't support us fungibly, we ask only that maybe you take some time to give us a review, recommend us to a friend, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for listening. We're still trying to make the best show we can for you folks. We're going to keep on keeping on. I hope you all take care of yourselves and each other out there. We'll see you next time.